So what is your relationship with money? My next guest tells us the secrets to creating wealth and how you may need to change the way you think about money. That's coming up next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. The psychology of money is a fascinating subject because, you know, how you're brought up, your relationship with money early on can sometimes determine how you deal with money for the rest of your life. To educate us on that, Holly Signorelli, she's a wealth strategist and CPA and good friend. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you're a best-selling author and international speaker, and we're going to talk about your books in a minute. But let's talk about the basic philosophy of relationships with money and how that can affect the way you either spend or save.
I think a lot of that has to when you're younger, and what your parents say to you, and then those times of when you're like young, 7 or something like that, it never goes away. You know, you kind of have to go to somebody like that to help them to do that. You know, and that's why I did the book, because the book is really about. It's not so much about money, about why people are scared about money, you know, things like that.
Well, let's go ahead and put up, you've written 2 best-selling books. We're going to start with The Secret to Wealth. I love the name of the book, How to Change Your Money Story and Claim the Abundance That Is Rightfully Yours. And then your first book, Do You Know Where Your Money Is?
Right.
And I understand that The Secret to Wealth is now on 5 different continents?
Yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so tell us about both books.
The first one, I think when you did the first book, it's you know, you're trying to be like, oh, okay, it's got to do this, and this, and it was okay. It gets information, but on the other one, I've just so many people say that they just can't get money, and so you know, it's not so much about investments or anything like that. It's more like, you know, how you feel about money, or like what you want out of money, because money is what we have. I mean, for you to do whatever you want to do here, like to travel or whatever, you got to have some money, you know, and have, you know, things like that.
And it can also affect relationships. So if you have a spender who marries a saver, that can create chaos, can't it?
Oh yeah. So usually. There is one person that's the spender and the other one that's like, you know, putting things aside. And sometimes for families, you know, that it's a problem. It's a problem.
So in my relationship, I'm the spender, my wife is the saver, and sometimes I will.
Really?
So she's the person who is writing down to the nickel.
Yeah.
How much is in her checking account?
Yeah.
And I'm the person who's like, here's a nickel. Now it's balanced.
Yeah.
How about you? How about your relationship?
I think that we've changed a lot in this year. You know, that some of the things that we couldn't do at the beginning, like when we were shut down and everything. And then I realized, man, I don't have to go to the restaurants all the time. I can have my own alcohol, right? You know what I'm saying? And then I started just putting more and more stuff away. And, you know, we're fine with it. We're fine with it. And we still went to Playa, you know, recently. But usually we were traveling like 4 times a year, you know.
Wow.
So,
that's awesome.
But it was fine because we you know, we have more money now, you know.
Yes.
And so.
Well, you and I go back a long time, and you are an international media star. We've got a little sizzle reel of some of your media highlights. Let's go ahead and roll that.
What if a flat tax comes into effect, right?
That's never going to happen.
Earlier today, I spoke to a local money expert about it.
Holly Signorelli is a financial advisor who's been receiving national attention for her fight to raise awareness.
It actually just comes down to supply and demand.
Later in the newscast, we'll be joined by CPA and financial planner Holly Signorelli. She'll talk about the pitfalls and playing it smart.
70% go out of business and in a lot of cases have debt within 3 to 5 years.
Longtime CPA, financial planner, and author Holly Signorelli's talking about the percentage of people that have won the Powerball and lost it all.
Everybody wants something fast and they want it now.
Dallas CPA Holly Signorelli, better known as the money therapist, says people want instant gratification.
Holly Signorelli is the money therapist.
The number one reason for divorce is money, so that's why I say keep your finances separate but not secret. Hello, debt-free lifestylers. If you put them on your tax return, you will have to pay back the credits that they got on the insurance. You have to really be clear about what your personal budget is, because most people nowadays spend what most of what they make. When you're carrying that around, it's like a black cloud that's just following you everywhere you go.
Being in debt and working towards a new lifestyle is very different from being out of control with your finances and feeling like that you're a liability to somebody else. So congratulations on your new lifestyle.
Wow, I love it. And you're still the person that the media calls when they need a soundbite. Congratulations. That's got to feel good, does it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So,
and you know what? It's right like that. When people don't have enough money, what they do is they go and get something they want because they're scared. You know, that is one of the biggest things that people do. You know, instead of waiting and, putting some stuff aside or something, they're like, this is all I've got. I'm going to do this. I've got to have this. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I don't have enough money.
And that's so important right now because we're in a recession and there are 10 million people plus unemployed right now, and and you can have an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Talk about the difference between the two.
Say that again.
An abundance mindset is optimistic and I'm going to get out of bed and I'm not going to hide under the covers because I'm out of work.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think right now there's, at least in Texas, okay, and maybe not all the states, but a lot of people are just unemployed, but there's still places that they can go to see, like if it's a restaurant or whatever it is. There's a lot, if everything's pretty open here right now in Texas, pretty much.
And I find this is a very encouraging town in Dallas-Fort Worth. If you're an entrepreneur and you're going out on your own, you're not surrounded by a bunch of naysayers who say, no, don't do that, or you'll never succeed. It's a pretty optimistic town, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why they say it's the happiest place in Texas, or not Texas, but in the States. That's what I meant.
So when you're coaching people, what is that like to engage you? When you're coaching people, how do you start?
Mine are more like with my clients, so that's kind of easy for them. But you have to do, if somebody feels like they can't get money, then you have to do this slowly, like I said, just make, like, maybe if all you could do is put $10 over here every day or every week or whatever, and at some point then you'll start to feel really good. You will, and it doesn't take long, to do that, because then you get momentum,
And have your money work for you. I know a lot of people in their 20s, they're kind of living paycheck to paycheck, and those are the times when they really should be putting something aside, because if you start in your 20s, by the time you're 60, you could be sitting on a really nice nest egg.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it ever too late? So when somebody comes to you to help them, but they're already, just a few years before retirement and they don't really have their act together, how do you deal with something like that?
Well, you should be doing it like when you're 20s, okay? And most people don't do that, okay? I mean, and so then in their 30s, they're kind of like having a lot of fun, you know, and then when you start to get 40, you know, then you're like, oh, wow, we need to stop doing this, you know?
Right.
But it'd be better if you just even did the smaller parts in your 20s, you know, or your 30s.
but start doing it. The message is don't sit there and just hope and pray that you win the lottery. That's not a retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wonderful. We're going to go ahead and put your website up to end the segment. HollySignorelli.com is the website. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You were awesome.
Yeah.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.